Exactly 35 years ago, a group of handsome, talented young Londoners played their first ever gig as Spandau Ballet.
We want the band to be, at all times, the most contemporary statement.
Here we go!
The band went on to become international superstars, selling 25 million albums worldwide and stealing the hearts of a generation of fans. They also paid the price of fame as they battled over royalties in the High Court. Tonight, Spandau Ballet are back live and exclusive on ITV.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to tell their extraordinary story and perform their greatest hits. Please welcome Tony Hadley, John Keeble, Martin Kemp, Gary Kemp, and Steve Norman. This is Spandau Ballet, True Gold. Was, of course, to cut a long story short, the single that set Spandau Ballet on the road to stardom. We're all very excited this evening, aren't we? Tony, what have you got in store for us?
We're just going to have a fantastic night. You're going to scream and go crazy. We're going to play. John's going to sweat, and it'll all be good.
Let's take a look at how 5 lads from London became one of Britain's most iconic bands.
Spandau Ballet's journey to glory began when 12-year-old Gary Kemp received an unwanted Christmas present.
I got a guitar from my parents, which was really disappointing. I wanted a toy. I learned 4 chords, and I wrote my own melody, and I found myself as a songwriter.
The fledgling composer was a pupil at Dame Alice Owens in North London.
But Gary went off and formed his school band, Steve Norman, John Keeble.
Another classmate, Tony Hadley, was eavesdropping.
I used to listen to them a couple of lunchtimes, and I thought, they're all right, but God, the singing's terrible.
I said, well, come down and have an audition, which he did, and blew us all away, quite frankly. First actual gig was in the school dining room. A young lady talked to me afterwards as I was packing down my drums, so I thought, this is the life for me.
But in those days, the band's sound was quite different.
It was just a great kind of power pop band. And I used to carry the equipment for them.
But the band's manager, Steve Dagger, had bigger plans for Gary's younger brother.
He looked like a pop star. I felt his talents were better deployed on the stage than shifting the amplifiers.
With Martin on bass, the lineup was complete, and it wasn't long until the band discovered a new underground club scene based at Billy's and the Blitz in London's Covent Garden.
There was no band that represented that movement. It was a matter of really just stepping up from the dance floor onto the little stage that they had at the Blitz.
We decided to completely remodel what the group was doing, the way they looked. Gary wrote new songs and created an electronic dance sound.
The Spandau Ballet.
It was immediately successful.
And soon, London's hippest band starred in an ITV documentary about the new scene.
We'll have to get a move on, all right? Because it's... Well, Simon's gone down to get the lights. He's gone to a Scala.
We're wearing these handmade outfits, being our own roadies.
We want the band to be, at all times, the most contemporary statement that we can possibly make.
The programme made such an impact that Spandau immediately landed a record deal. And in 1980, their debut single, To Cut a Long Story Short, rocketed into the top 5.
Kraftwerk meets Frank Sinatra. You know, you've got this 80s electronic sound, and then Tony Hadley's just fabulous voice.
Britain began to embrace what became known as the new romantic scene.
Spandau Ballet were in the vanguard of a whole new movement, which turned out to be a very important movement, New Romantics.
It rippled through the whole country, and you could walk down any street in the UK and see a group of young guys that looked like they'd borrowed Spandau's wardrobe for the day.
They were an extraordinary cultural phenomenon.
A lot of memories. Now, let's talk about the new romantic look. Do you look back on your image quite fondly at this stage?
Oh, absolutely. You know, people say to me, are you ever embarrassed about looking back and seeing what you wore? Absolutely not, because at the time, we were really proud of it, because we invented it.
Having said that, you're, working class lads from London here. How did your friends and your family react suddenly, Tony, you're coming back in frilly shirts and kilts and all the rest of it?
Somewhat bizarrely at times. You know, I remember my granddad actually wouldn't travel on a train carriage with me because I looked ridiculous. You know, I had ballet slippers on and these weird trousers and stuff. And he just utterly refused to get on a carriage with me.
My dad actually did pull me aside and said, son, I want to have a word with you. It's about those gloves that you're wearing, you know, a bit Oscar Wilde.
That was just a glove too far, wasn't it?
Glove too far.
So let's talk about the name. Of course, you weren't always Spandau Ballet.
We did our first gig in front of our kind of like invited audience, and we were called the Gentry, and we met in a pub afterwards, and Robert Elms, the broadcaster, was there. He said that the name's rubbish, but I've got a great name for you, Spandau Ballet. Turns out they saw it written on a toilet wall in Germany. In about 1984, I'm walking down the Angel Islington. This bloke runs up behind me going, "You stole our name! You stole our name!" Apparently it was a German band. It's German I just did then, was it?
And what did you say to him?
Bad luck, mate. We've had a few hits.
Tony, you did have a little brush with fame before all of this kicked off. I don't know if you remember this. I'm sure there's a few... there's a few ladies in the audience who remember this. Do you remember My Guy?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, every picture tells a story. And here he is. Sister Blackmail is the scene, yes. Trying to take love away from her sister was Deirdre's first mistake and her last.
It's a sorry tale.
It is a sorry tale and poignant. Would you mind trying to recreate it with me? I've got a card for you, OK? So you can see what it is up there, but let's bring this to life, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? OK, there you go. I'm Deirdre, obviously. Yeah. She's a bit like this, OK? So I'm like this. Now, this is cosy.
Isn't it just? Sorry, I got another bit. Hey, isn't that the jumper I gave June for her birthday?
Yeah, but I fill it out better than her, don't I?
Do you fancy me? Do you fancy me?
Do you fancy me?
What? I mean, sure, it's just that...
To be continued, ladies and gentlemen.
John's ready. About Deirdre, yeah, really.
Will I bring it back to the music, Tony?
Yeah, I think we
thought
should.
that. Are we ready for some more? Yes, I think we are. Let's have our second performance of the evening. Thank you very much, boys. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tony. Featuring the wonderful Beggar and Cohen Brass. This is Spandau Ballet with chant number 1.
I checked the time, well, it was almost time. A kind of curious spell, and a terrible cry. Well, I washed my clothes, but the stains still grow. Cover your eyes, but the stains still show. I feel the graze against my skin. I feel the graze against my skin. I know this feeling is a lie. I know this feeling is a lie. There's a guilt in my mind. There is a guilt within my mind. I know this feeling is a lie. I know this feeling is a lie. I don't need this pressure. 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 Down, down, bounce down to the town. Down Greek Street, then it's on the ground. It's a whole life, but it's a mobile night. Place to shoot, Friday night, King Rude. I don't need this pressure. I don't need this pressure. I don't need this pressure. I don't need this pressure on. I checked the time. Well, it was almost time. Thank you!
After the break, the song that propelled Spandau Ballet to the top of the charts.
true gold. Back in 1983, getting in touch wasn't as easy as it is now. Even love-struck pop stars would have to wait a couple of years to get their hands on a mobile phone like this for communication. Do you remember those? How wonderful. They were so mobile. No wonder Gary wrote a song about it, performing their top 10 hit, Communication. It's Spandau Ballet!
Communication always leaves me incomplete. The grass is greener, but it's gone beneath my feet. Love inspiration is a message on the way, but I have left it in the words you'll never see. Communication let me down. To ring. Short change bubble down a hot trouble. Ain't got time to search you through the rubble. Oh no. Communication let me down. And I'm empty. Communication let me down. But I'm left here.
Spandau Ballet had made the jump from underground club band to becoming pop stars, and they were about to hit the big time.
By 1982, Spandau's success had so far barely changed their lives.
I was still living at home, at my mum and dad's house, with my own bedroom and Martin sleeping next door.
And it was in that bedroom that Gary began work on the title track of their third album.
So I was ready to write some love songs. And I suppose I had a little taste of love at that point.
Gary, then aged 22, had drawn inspiration from someone in his life. Claire Grogan, the actress and singer with pop group Altered Images.
Gary and I became very drawn towards each other. And I think there was kind of a bit of, I suppose, unrequited love going on.
True is a song about trying to write a song about someone you're in love with, but you haven't got the guts to tell them. So in the song, I left a lot of clues that maybe she'd recognise.
Why do I find it hard to write the next line? Oh, I want the truth to be said.
It's such a huge song that it's made me feel in some way responsible for something that I can't live up to.
In the spring of 1983, True climbed up the singles charts. Spandau were away on tour when they got a call from their manager, Steve Dagger.
Phone went very early in our hotel room. I picked it up and Dagger said, yeah, True's #1.
The boys have all burst in champagne. Yeah, we're #1.
True went on to top the charts in 21 countries around the world.
There's something about it which is timeless, it transcends eras.
I would have been, I reckon, about 15 years old, and I had my first slow dance to True.
My 40th birthday, we went to a brilliant karaoke restaurant in London, and True was the song I chose.
For Spandau, the hits kept coming and propelled them to international stardom.
These went from being 5 guys from council estates in Islington to being global superstars. They're playing stadiums, flying in private jets.
Well, Spandau really became this sort of global behemoth, a band of truly international standing.
Started off with Japan, and then we hit Britain, then Europe, and now we're in Australia.
And a new phenomenon was born.
The height of Spandau Mania was crazy.
Girls fainting, screaming, crying. They all had their favourite member of Spandau Ballet and wanted to marry them.
Who's coming tonight?
We heard this tapping noise from the dressing room, and a fan had climbed up the drain pipe in order to get a look at the band, 2 floors up.
It was like being the Beatles. Literally, it was hysteria, mass hysteria.
We were 5 young guys having the time of our lives.
So, Steve, tell me, what was it like having hordes of girls lusting after you?
Yeah, what was it like, Steve?
Deal with it.
People ask you all the time, so what was it like? What was it like? And if you was to sort of be disappointed to say, well, no, we were good boys, you know, we never indulged in anything. They're like, oh, come on.
We had
you get one shot.
We had 1 or 2 beers. You know.
It was good fun.
I want to do a little quiz now to find out which member is the biggest party animal out of the 5. Who wanted to follow in the footsteps of the Rolling Stones and grabbed hold of a telly and tried to fire it out of a hotel room?
It kind of got caught on a windowsill and it didn't quite work. You know. But I have to say, you have to put this in context because me and John were in no state to even realise that it hadn't gone out the window.
Which band member used to regularly leave the stage to do other things during Through the Barricades?
Technically, I didn't leave the stage.
Yeah.
I just had a big enough drum riser so I could have a small bar. Well, the front of it's a bit boring, isn't it? You know what I mean? So I used to go down, talk to my drum tech, play darts, have a small shot of Jack, and then at the appropriate point, go back and join in, and that's where the song really starts. Really. The public's with me, really.
Going back to True, you all kind of sort of looked at one another there when Claire Grogan popped up in the film. The inspiration for True, of course. Are we allowed to ask what the relationship was? I mean, what went on there exactly?
That's the most public it's ever been. I mean, I was quite red at that point. We were good friends and we were hanging out and playing a lot of Al Green and Marvin Gaye, you know, listening to those songs. And
Gary, can I interject just slightly?
Yeah, what about Claire, though?
All us girls will agree. We've all probably got guys as mates. They don't go writing us songs like that. So what was going on? Was it unrequited love here?
Yeah, no,
we want a bit of honesty here.
Absolutely nothing was going on. Just the kind of, you know, sometimes I think if you're a creative person, there's a kind of...
Did you kiss her?
No. You know, you're looking for inspiration as a songwriter, aren't you? I'm digging myself out of a hole. Because my wife's sitting up there.
Yeah, be nice, girl. She's coming on in a minute.
Because there were lots of clues, supposedly.
Well, yeah, I mean, Claire gave me a book for my 22nd birthday, and it was Lolita. And I often get berated for the line, take your seaside arms. But let it be known that the description seaside arms was Nabokov's and not mine. I stole it from the book.
OK.
I always thought it was a pub in Eastbourne.
It is, of course, one of the most iconic songs in pop history. Thank you so much. You have entertained us so far. Off you go, folks.
You sing another song, do we?
Yeah, you do. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Performing exclusively for us tonight, here's Spandau Ballet with True.
So true, funny how it seems, always in time, but never in line for dreams. Head over heels when This is the sound of my soul. This is the sound. I bought a ticket to the world, but now I've come back again. Why do I find it hard to ride the next line? I want you to be safe. I know this much is true. Ooh, I know this much is true. The tune in my head and the pill on my tongue. There's all the nerves that have just begun. Listening to Marvin all night long. This is the sound, oh, of my soul. This is the sound. Oh, it's slipping from my hands. Send the time of its own. Take your seaside out to ride the next line. I want you to belong. I know this much is true. Ooh, I know this much is true. No, this much is true. Why do I find it hard to ride the next line? I want you to be. I want that truth to be said. I know this much is true. This much is true. This much is true. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Norman on saxophone.
Welcome back to Spandau Ballet True Gold. Spandau Ballet's music and style defined an era, but staying at the top of the charts wasn't going to be easy.
By the late 1980s, Spandau Ballet had been one of Britain's biggest bands for nearly a decade. And throughout their success, they'd stayed firm friends.
All our personalities breathed quite successfully within the band.
We trusted each other, we loved each other, we grew up with each other.
We all did everything together, lived together, worked together.
We had this massive history of success and deep friendship.
Chemistry's obviously right. Yeah, no arguments, really.
We were literally a band of brothers, us against the world.
But as a new decade arrived, Spandau were going out of fashion.
There was a certain sense that they perhaps had run their course.
The younger kids wanted their own scene and they found it on the dance floor with DJs.
And it wasn't just music changing, so were Spandau. In 1990, Gary and Martin stepped outside the group to star in acclaimed British film, The Krays.
It was the first time that any one of us had gone off to do something else.
The shifting sands caused tension within the group.
There was an element of people wanting their own space and to try other things.
We'd had a lot of arguments in the studio about business and about personal matters.
We were kind of falling apart, really. We'd lost respect for each other.
Despite the problems, Spandau toured Europe in early 1990. But after the final show and 14 years since they'd formed, the band went their separate ways, although they never formally split.
It would have been much easier for everyone to deal with if we'd have drawn a line in the sand, but there wasn't one. So what happened over the next 10 years became, pretty mucky.
With Spandau Ballet a thing of the past, a row began about money.
Tony phoned me up and said he spoke to the office and the publishing royalties had stopped, and that seemed a bit strange.
For most of Spandau's recording career, Gary, the songwriter, gave half the composing royalties he received to the rest of the band. But when Gary decided to end the payments, he came to blows with Tony, Steve and John.
I saw the truth one way and they saw the truth another way.
Just thought, right, OK, I'm going to pursue this. And time went on and more time went on, and I thought, no, this is just wrong.
After years of wrangling, in 1999, Tony, Steve and John took Gary to court.
No one wanted to be there, but felt that we had to fight our corner.
Martin stayed out of the dispute.
It was watching my best friends and my brother take each other to court. For me, it was one of the worst times of my life.
After 23 days, Gary won the case.
Obviously, I'm really delighted and pleased that the court found in my favour on everything.
There was never going to be a winner. I didn't win that court case. I just didn't lose.
Obviously, very, disappointed.
I didn't speak to Gary for years and years and years.
Every time you hear a Spandau Ballet record on the radio, 80% of the band get next to nothing.
Steve, John and Tony were left with legal costs of £500,000, which took them to the verge of bankruptcy.
There were no friendships then, at that point.
This was not a normal group. This was a bunch of guys who'd grown up together. It really hurt them.
I mean, they are my family. The other boys are the closest thing I have as a family. And it was like watching your family split up.
Wow.
Interesting.
That was funny, wasn't it? We all need soap operas.
Gary, you said something interesting there. You didn't feel like you'd won the case exactly. You just didn't happen to lose it. What did you mean exactly by that?
Well, there was no winners in the whole thing. And, the band was smashed up. And I don't think there was much celebration on our side at all. And I think, I entered a period of being quite depressed about the whole thing and dreaming a lot about meeting Tony. Sometimes the dreams were successful in that we got back together again, sometimes they weren't. There were huge parts of geography of London that I couldn't go to. This is just like a divorce. It's a relationship falling apart.
I went to Ibiza, actually, in, I think it was 93, and it was kind of like, just had to get away, major change in my life. And while I was out there, I don't think I picked the saxophone. I didn't even look at it. I didn't even know where it was. I put it away in a cupboard. And it was so symbolic of Spandau. it took years before I could really sort of revisit the saxophone. That's how much it
But you said it yourselves. I mean, you knew each other from you were teenagers. I mean, how did you deal with it?
I realised that, you know, I was never going to do anything better than Spandau Ballet, and that these were my friends who I'd lived that incredible history with, and we couldn't not do this again. We had to meet and somehow resolve and lose those differences. And it took a long time, and John and I met for quite a while, and then eventually Tony and I met. And
in a pub, I might add.
In a pub.
Neutral venue.
But I think, you know, what I said in the VT, you know, stands true. You know, there was no sense of, oh, you know, you were wrong, you were lying. I think we came to a kind of agreement that everyone had a difference of opinion on this, but, you know, there was more positives as friends than, you know, being apart.
Well, I remember when myself and Gary met, and we were in the pub outside in the garden. It was a really beautiful, sunny day and everything. And I had a few words to say, Gary had a few words to say, and we both sort of looked at each other and said, can we ever make this work again? And we said the only way we can do that is to really draw a line in the sand. And we shook hands, had another pint, and then all of a sudden we started talking about the old times and stories and the jokes. And I mean, it wasn't easy. I mean, it took, for me personally, it was a lot of soul searching. I mean, I was, you know, it was like Jekyll and Hyde in my mind as to what to do. But I think the great thing about it is, and I think I speak for all of us, is that by getting back together, we got rid of a lot of anger and a lot of angst, and that wears you down over the years. 20 years, we went together for 20 years.
It's so nice to be back with the guys.
It's a shared
to
consciousness.
laugh at things that we've been laughing at all our lives.
Spandau's a gang, and it's a bit like the mafia, you know. Once you're in, there ain't no getting out. You know, there's only one way out of this band, really. Isn't there?
Well, moving on to our next song, of course, Through the
I thought you'd say
Barricades.
that.
Did you? Let's hear it, shall we? Thank you so much again, guys. Performing their 1986 hit, Through the Barricades. Here's Spandau Ballet.
Mother doesn't know where love has gone. She says it must be youth that keeps us feeling strong. I see it in a face that's turned to ice. And when she smiles, she shows the lines of sacrifice. And now I know what they're saying as our sun begins to fade, and we make our love on wasteland and through the barricades. Won't turn around and I'll be there. The skyline through my heart, but I'll bear it again. Value of the human race, we were just another borderline case. And the stars reached out, they tell us
Spandau Ballet show us why they are indestructible. Welcome back to Spandau Ballet True Gold. Over the years, the Spandau Ballet story has had enormous highs and desperate lows, but thankfully for us fans, a happy ending. In spring 2009, Spandau announced to the world they were back in action.
As you can see, we're back together again, and we're very happy boys.
It's a moment that I never thought I would ever see again.
Spandau set out on a world tour and sold out 3 nights at London's O2 in just 20 minutes. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, they were back on stage together.
There was a magic in the room. It was incredible.
We grew up playing together. We learned to play together. And there's something very special about us 5 when we get behind our instruments.
And it wasn't about the show, it was about us boys. It was strange.
It's one of the best Spandau shows ever, wasn't it?
And 2014's a big year for Spandau Ballet with their documentary Soul Boys of the Western World in cinemas across the country.
A gang of kids form a band and are utterly in the moment.
It's a buddy movie. It's about 5 kids who grow up together, enter this magical world of stardom, lose their friendship, but then come back together again at the end.
And Spandau have been back in the studio recording some great new songs. Nearly 40 years since they first played in the school dinner hall, Spandau are ready to write the next chapter in their story.
They've simply stood the test of time. They're still brilliant entertainers.
They're as good as they ever were.
Now, this is like extra time, and this is like, we can really enjoy this now.
We're still young and fit. Let's get going.
The Soul Boys of the Western World, of course. A lot of that footage was actually shot on a Super 8 camera that you bought from Spartan, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I remember the very first wages that we ever got from Spandau was £60. I went out and bought a Super 8 camera. So we were lucky. Lots of the movie was, documented from that.
So now, obviously, all back together, all very comfortable together with each other. It's just good friendships again, isn't it?
Yeah. Just want to touch you all.
You missed them, though.
Yeah, no, and it's nice. You know, it's nice making new music together now, and next year we'll be able to get up onto stages and take on the world.
Well, that's exactly what you are going to do. There's a world tour looming,
Yeah,
isn't there?
next year,
Which,
yeah.
of course, as you say, new music. What are the Spandau Ballet fans like these days? Are they still climbing drain pipes and doing all sorts? Yeah.
They might need,
lovely,
an
actually.
assistant up the drain pipe.
That's fine. So,
That was one of the things that surprised us when we came back. You know, we played the Isle of Wight Festival, a lot of young kids out there, and the amount of them that knew the words, every word to the song, especially a song called Gold. I think that was went down quite well.
No, of course. It is, of course, our next song. Everyone does know every single word. You are quite right. Are you ready to
Great, I don't have to sing it. You love
yes,
to sing
you
it
do.
for me.
Totally.
Let's go.
I have to say, guys, you've been amazing, haven't they? Ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely wonderful. Spandau Ballet, thank you so much. Performing one of their best-known songs the world over. This is Spandau Ballet with Gold.
Thank you for coming home. Sorry that the chairs are all warm. I left them here, I could have sworn. These are my salad days, slowly being eaten away. Just another play for today. Oh, but I'm proud of you, but I'm proud of you. Nothing left to make me feel small. Long as I'll be standing so tall. Always believe in your soul. You got the power to know you're indestructible. Always believe it, 'cause you are gold. Glad that you've been to return. Something I could learn. You're indestructible. Always believe After the rush has gone, hope you find